welcome to Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and a puzzle we've had requested a few times over the last days. It's by Shy, so basically it's a guarantee of sort of world-class quality and probably mad originality as well, and it's called Turbine. And when I opened it just now, I think this turbine must be this top left area of the grid, which seems to be where all the magic is happening. There's all sorts going on the top left and absolutely diddly squat going on in the rest of the grid. Anyway, I'll read the rules out in a moment. The first thing I need to do is to apologise, because I was expecting to be reading out lots of names for correct solvers of our Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy Sudoku hunt over on Patreon now, but I haven't managed to speak to Mark today, so I don't know which names he's read out. I don't want to duplicate names and waste everybody's time, so I'm going to hold off on that and get back to name reading tomorrow. Do have a look at the hunt if you've not had a go at it. I'm sure you will enjoy it. Now, with the apology over and done with, and the other thing I want to mention is if we ever did reach 5,000 patrons on Patreon, we will be releasing this murder mystery Sudoku hunt. We're quite a long way away at the moment, so I don't think it's imminent, but if you've ever thought about signing up and supporting us, we would be most grateful. And as I say, there is a bonus coming up when and if we reach 5,000 patrons, which I know lots of you will enjoy. So that's hopefully something to look forward to. And right, now I will read the rules of Shy's puzzle. What are the rules? Normal Sudoku rules apply. A cell with a grey square must contain an even digit. So we've got some even digits dotted around the grid here. A cell with a grey circle must contain an odd digit, 3 of those by the looks of things. And cells separated by a black dot must contain digits in a ratio of 1 to 2. So that means, for example, those two squares, let's imagine this square was a 2. This square would have to now either be 1, because 2 is double 1, or 4, because 4 is double 2. So we have to make sure that they're in a ratio of 2 to 1 in some order. And there's no mention of a negative constraint here, so I presume there is no negative constraint, otherwise it would normally say so. So what do I mean by negative constraint? Well, I think what the rules imply is that it would be absolutely fine for these two squares to be, for example, 2, 4. There wouldn't need to be a black dot between them. So we're just told that there are some black dots and how the black dots work if they are there. We're not told anything about the cells where there are no black dots. Anyway, all that rambling done, let's have a go. Do have a go if you... Oh, Alexa wants to play as well.
I can't connect to your Wi-Fi network.
No, I wouldn't let her. I wouldn't let her connect. She's too annoying when she connects to anything. So I've turned her off, except it appears for this video. Anyway, if you want to have a go, do click the link under the video. I'm trying to work out what on earth I said that woke her up. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. So first things first, let's take a look at Sudoku with this plethora of given digits I've been awarded today. And I can do magic with 6s. No, I can't. I can lock a 6 into one of those two positions. 9's go in one of those 3. 3's go in one of those 3. I'm not prepared, I don't think, to pencil mark those in. And nothing else, it seems. I'm probably missing something obvious here. There's no naked single or anything, I don't think. 5, 6, 7. No, I mean, that square there is a little bit restricted. That can only be 5 or 7. Because it sees 1, 2, 3, 4 and 9 in the box and 6, 8 in the column. This square again, I think that can only be 5 or 8, because again it's seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 in its box. So there's a tiny bit of restriction on those two squares. The magic, I'm no doubt, the magic's going to be up in the turbine in the top left of the grid. So what can we say about the turbine? We can say that, well, the first thing, Surely, said I, surely there is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Which is an apt line. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind and nothing more. Open here I flung a shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. I don't know why I keep quoting this. I'm buying time. I'm buying time. Not the least obeisance matey, not an instant stop door stady, but with mien of lord and lady, perched above my chamber door. Blah, 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 nevermore. Yeah, I mean, surely what I was thinking is that the odd digits are problematic in this top left-hand region, because the one thing I know about a black crocky dot is that the only odd digit it can have on it is a 3. Because if you put 5 on it, you have to double 5 and make 10, or put 2.5 on. That's not going to work. 7 needs 14 or 3.5, also bobbins, and 9 needs 4.5 or 18, which is still more bobbins. So you can't put... Oh, if I add the corners, actually, let's have a look at this. There's something going on with odd digits up here. Boom, 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 boom. So that pattern there cannot have a 5, 7 or a 9 on it. That looks difficult to me. It looks like a whole sequence of sort of empty rectangle type crossroads. Yeah, this is definitely restricted, because you need to put... So now, if you think about any of these boxes... Well, no, let's think about the boxes all together. There are 4 boxes of the Sudoku here. So how, if we fill in the boxes correctly, how many 5s am I expecting to see in those 36 cells? Well, the answer is 4, because that's 4 complete boxes of the Sudoku, and there must be 1 5 in each box. But we know the 5 has to be limited to just the white squares in each case. So I've got to put 4 5s in there. So you can never put a 5 at the junction. If you put a 5 at the middle of the crossroads, it breaks the puzzle straight away. If you put a 5 here, where does the 5 go in box 5 now? Well, only in one of those 2 squares. Where does the 5 go in box 1? Only in one of those 2 squares. And now you've got a big problem in box 4 because you can't put a 5 in at all. So you can never put a 5 at a junction. Yeah. Sometimes you don't see the wood for the trees, and then you suddenly do, and you realise you've been a complete numpty. Right. The simpler way of thinking about 5s, 7s and 9s is to count how many units of the Sudoku are available to put 5s, 7s and 9s in these 4 boxes. Now, let's do this carefully. There is one column in which I can put a 5 there. There is a second column there, so that's 2 possible columns and 2 possible rows. So, but I need to put 4 5s. So the 4 5s must occupy. There must be a 5 in there. There must be a 5 in there. There must be a 5 in there, and there must be a 5 in there. And they can't be at the overlaps. So that's it. I mean, there can't be 5s in those. You cannot put 5s. In fact, you can't put 5s, 7s or 9s in any of those strips. There you go. QED. We have, I think, understood how the turbine. We've understood how the turbine works. I mean, this is classic Shy. This is not... I was going to say it's not rocket science or hydraulics or anything. It's just a simple idea executed with just some sort of weird genius. It really is, because, and just to prove it, by the way, if you want to try and do it, if you put the 5 here, of course, you're going to have a 5 in one of those 2, you have to have a 5 in one of those 2, you have to have a 5 in one of those 2, and now you can see, if you look carefully, we've got 1 5 in those 6 squares, 1 5 in those 6 squares, 1 5 in those 6 squares, and 1 5 in those 6 squares. So we don't need any more 5s in these rows and columns. So that's why I think we are good to go with 5s, 7s and 9s, and that means that we can... Well, it means loads of things, actually. This puzzle is suddenly becoming... It might be becoming, I don't know. I was about to say easy, but I think it's become easier. Because now look at box 3. Now, if you can't put 5s, 7s or 9s into those squares have got to contain 5s and 7s. probably these are less important because we've got no givens in. This one, you've got the same... oh, no, this is... no, I get a 9 there, just by Sudoku. If you can't put 9 in the blue strip, and you can't put 9 in those squares, that's a 9. Therefore, 9 is in one of those two positions. 5 now has become much more potent in box 7. It's got to be in one of those two squares, which is lovely, because that square now can't be a 5. So that's become a 7 out of nowhere. No, better... yes, well, yes, but better than that, 5 in box 9 now has to be vertical. And that's pointing up there. So those aren't 5s. That's become a 5. 5 is in one of these two squares in column 9, and 7 isn't. Oh no, 7 is nearly good. 7 is not quite good enough though. Now this box still needs 5s, 6s, and 8s, but we don't seem to know about 8s at all. So that square can be 5, 6, or 8. That square can be 6 or 8. Okay. Now, have we got anything else going on here? It must be 5s, 7s, and 9s. So I think we've used that trick in this box, haven't we? 7s, 9s in this box. Yes, yes. Where does 9 go in this box? It's now got to be in those two squares with the 5. So now that square and that square are a 2-3 pair, maybe, just to complete this column. Now 3 is not subject to the same restriction, because of course you can put 3 on the Kropki dots. So we don't have anything like the potency with 3s that we had with 5s, 7s, and 9s. But yes, but what do we put in the odd digits on the crossroads? What do the crossroads contain? They can't have 5s, 7s, or 9s in them, so they're 1s and 3s. And if they're 1s and 3s, that's a 1-3 pair, and that's looking at that square, which is now a 2. That's a 3. That's a 1. That's a 3. That's a 1. We've now got a 1-5 pair in box 7. We've got a 2-4-8 triple in the column. Get rid of the 5s in the corners there. We've got a 1-7 pair there, which means those two squares are a 2-4 pair. There's a 2 here, so that's become a 2. That's become a 4, and we're almost cooking with gas now, aren't we? This square's now a naked single because it's even and it sees 2, 4, 8 in its column. That's a 6. So 6 is in one of those 3 squares in box 2. Actually, I've just noticed I can't really see that. That square is very hard for me to see. That's a grey square. Ooh. Okay, I might have to get rid of that. I don't want to get rid of the highlighting because I'm actually finding it quite helpful, but I may need to. I'll give it a go for a bit longer, but if I get stuck, I'm definitely going to have to take the purple highlighting away, which I know breaks my heart. But 1 maybe in box 1 is a bit restricted. It can't go on the grey square, so 1 is in one of those 3 squares. Now that is immediately interesting, because wherever the 1 goes, it's got to see a 2 via the power of the Kropki dot. So if 1 was here, for example, you know that's a 2. If 1's here, you get all sorts of 2s going on. Okay. Right, now it's getting trickier, isn't it? It really is. I have to think now. No, I was about to say something about 7s that would have been totally fatuous. 1. Ah, that square is interesting. Look at this column. We need to put 1, 6, 7 and 8 into this column. Well, this square can't be 1 and it can't be 7 because this is on a blue stripe. So that's a 6 or an 8, which means those two squares are a 1, 7 pair, which means these squares are from 3, 4, 6 and 8. Maybe that's no good. That can't be a 3. Ah, I've got stuck. This square can't be a 2. This square can't be a 4. Don't know anything. I don't know enough about 5s over here. Oh, 1s. There you go. 1's got to go. Oh, no. Oh, yes, it's still good. 1, I was about to say 1 has to go into these squares, forgetting 1 could go in the stripe, but 1 can't go in the stripe because of this 1 here. So this is a 1, 9 pair, which I didn't know before. And therefore, this is from 2, 5, or 8. Well, we know it's not 5. Ah, I see. So if we think about this, because this can't be 5 because it's in the stripe, we've now got a 2, 8 pair. There's a 5 over here out of nowhere. So this becomes a 6, 8 pair. 5 doesn't seem to do very much. This 5 has let itself down. Good grief. Okay, so right. So 5 is now there's now a 5, 7 pair in box 8 because this 5 and this 5 interact with the blue stripe, which means the rest of this box has got to be 2, 3s, 4s, 6s and 8s. Well, this square has got to be 4, 6 or 8 then. I'm not sure I can do better than that, and these are from 2, 3, 4, 6 and 8, which I suppose I better 2, 3, 4, 6 and 8. That seems an awful lot of digits. That can't be 3. Oh dear, I'm actually getting stuck. Come on, Simon, wake up. Wake up and smell the coffee. What are we meant to do now? Ah, I'm just noticing 3. 3 is definitely not an even number. Ah, yeah. Let's think about 3 in box 2, because 3 can't go on that black Kropki dot there, because that would force this to be a 6, which it can't be. So 3... Yeah, oh, this is lovely. In fact, where does 3 go? It can't go on this one either, because that would be a 6. And it can't be a 6 for 2 reasons. It gets completely zug-swanged. So that's got to be a 3. Therefore, this is a 6. That means this square is not 3 or 6. This square is not 6. 3. 3 is not there, obviously. 3 is in one of 2 places, I think, in box 1 now. But it can be on the black Kropki dot, because it does seem to be possible for that to be a 6. So what's this 6 doing? Is it doing anything beyond the mundane for us? I don't think it is. Oh, this is so annoying. You know. Oh, rather than 6s, let's look at 3s still. Yeah. Where does 3 go in this box now? It can only go there. Although that might actually not do anything, you know. I'm not sure. I am not sure. Oh dear. Right, okay, so let's carry on. What do we know now, if anything, about the state of the world? We know we've got 2 even digits up here. I think I better pencil mark these even digits before I lose sight of them. So they can be 2, 4 or 6. Oh, that's not 6 actually. That's not 6 either. There's a 2, 4 pair up here which I would have got. If I'd been more Goodliff and less Anthony, I would have probably got this quicker by pencil marking. But you know me. That's got to be 2, 4, 6 or 8, I think. I think that can be all of them, annoyingly. 6 is mildly oh no, 6 is a little bit restricted in box 4 by Sudoku of all things. 6 is in this domino, which is nearly very useful. Now, how can we use this 2-4 pair? I can tell you, this is lovely. This is forced. This is absolutely beautiful. This Kropki dot now can't contain 2, 4, or 8, so it's not 1, 2, 2, 4, or 4, 8. It is 3, 6. This can't be the 6, so that's a 6. That's become a 3 out of nowhere. The 3 must be in one of those 2 squares. The 6's can come out of those 2 squares now, and the 6... what's that done? It doesn't seem to have done as much as I was hoping it would have done. So now... oh, yeah, it has done things. Where does 1 go in row 1? That little square and that little square have 1s ruled out of them. So we get a 1 here. We get a 7 here. I can see one thing that's interesting about that, and it's to do with the 1s, appropriately enough. If those 2 squares are 1s, then these 2 squares are 1s. Now, they're both on black Kropki dots, which means one of these 2 squares is definitely a 2, which means that square is not a 2. It means that square is not a 2, so maybe I should pencil mark this one. In fact, this one is interesting, because this little square here cannot be 3 or 6 either, or 1 or 2 now. So that's 4 or 8 only. Whoopsie, 4 or 8 only. So this square is now 2, 4 or 8 only. Which is almost... oh, it is beautiful. It is beautiful because I can just about see that this square is a grey square. And therefore that square is 2, 4, 6 or 8. In fact, it's not 6. Look, there's a 6 here. But that does create a little even quadruple along that row. And we can ask where 6 goes in our even quadruple, and it goes here by the power of it being eliminated from all of those cells. So 6 is now in this domino. Don't know if we know which is which. But this square now has to be a 3 because it can't be a 4 or an 8. Which might be helpful or might not. No, maybe it's not. Oh, it gives us a 3 up there. Okay, we'll take small gifts and be grateful. This column needs 5s, 7s and 9s into it. That's not a 9. That's that. Oh, that is a 9, but because it can't be a 5 or a 7 apparently. Now, does this 9 do anything? It locks a 9 into one of 2 cells there. You can't put 9 on a black Kropki dot. Oh, it gives us 9. 9's got to go there in box 4. Now 9 can't go on the in those squares. So 9's vertical there, which is not helpful. Okay, but that definitely feels like a bit more progress, doesn't it? Now, how do we keep this going? We've now got a 2, I've noticed. In this row, the 2 is definitely in one of those squares. So this little square no longer has the option to be 2, or 3, or 6. But I think it can be 1, annoyingly. So it's 1, 4, or 8. Oh, that's almost so good. But not quite good enough. This Kropki dot can't be 2, 4 without breaking that. And it can't be 3, 6. So it's either 1, 2 or it's 4, 8. Which I feel like that should really matter. 1, 2 or 4, 8. I just don't think we know which though, do we? Bobbins. Bobbins, 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 and bobbins again. Right, okay. So we're going to have to... I think I'm probably missing umpteen things here. This square is interesting. I've just seen we've got this 2, 4 pair, so that can only be 5 or 7 now. Which looks like it ought to do things, but then Oh, I suppose, am I going to have to pencil mark all of these Kropki dots? That's probably what people have in mind for me to do. Let me just stare at this for a second. Because if I do that, I will actually spot what's right there in front of me, which is where does 1 go in column 6? Can't be here because of this one, can't be here because of this one, so it's got to be there, I think. So that's a 1 and that's a 9, which means that's become a 9 out of nowhere. It's the world's most useless 9, though. This 9 has let itself down. So we've now got 5s, 7s and 8s to place into those 3 squares. 5s, 7s and 8s. I don't think we know hardly anything about 8s. 3 6s. This is 4 or 8. If I could get rid of 2 from here, it would be exciting. In fact, if I can get rid of anything from here, it's exciting. So how do we do this? How do we do it without pencil marking all the Kropki dots in? I know, I'm going to need to do it, aren't I? I think I'm about to bite that bullet and accept the inevitable. 2, 4, 8. I am going to do it. I am. I'm just desperately trying not to. 5s and 7s. No, okay, I am going to have to do it. Let's start with this square, because at least this square can't be 1. It definitely can't be 3 or 6 either. So the options for this square are just 2, 4 and 8. Which sort of feels like it might be important. So this square can be 1, 2, 4 or 8. Can't be 3, 6 still. This square can be 1, 2, 4 and 8 as well. That doesn't actually fill me with joy, I have to say. And this square is just 2, 4 or 8. Oh, okay. That square's 2, 4 or 8 because it can't be 1. Now there's a 2, 4, 8 triple in box 2 out of nowhere, so that means this is now a 5, 7 pair. It means that 8 is definitely down here. In box 2, there must be an 8 in one of those 2 squares. So we can now rule 8 out of those 2 squares, which might be important. So if this was... I've got to be a bit careful here, making sure this has a valid entry. Still not seeing how to do... Oh, I've got a 5, 7 pair in this column now. So this is 1, 2... Oh, so that's 4 or 8. Oh, good grief. Look at this column. There's a 5, 7 pair. So we've got 1, 2, 4, 8 as a quadruple, but this can't be 1 or 2. So this is 4 or 8. And now I've got a 4, 6, 8 quadruple in this row, which means I still need 5s and 7s into those 2 squares. Now I've got a 5, 7 pair here. Oh, there's all sorts of things going on, and I'm sort of losing track of it. This is a 5, 7 pair in box 4, which means this is a 2, 4, 8 triple. And that's lovely, because that has given me a 2, 4, 8 triple in row 4, which means this square at long last has become a 1, and this 1 is probably going to be what I needed to do to finish the puzzle, because it must be connected to 2 on Kropki dots. Now, has that finished it? Yeah, maybe it has, because that gives me a 4 and a 2 here. It means this square now must be 8. It means these 2 squares are now a 1, 4 pair. We still don't know what this one is, though, unless I'm mistaken. This square's now... so now look at this square. This can't be 1 anymore, because this is a 4 or an 8. This hasn't got the ability to be 1, because it couldn't be in a ratio of the right size. So that's the 4, that's the 1, that's the 1, that's the 5, that's the 7, that's the 5, that's the 5, that's the 7, that's the 5. Yeah, that's 5, 7, that's 7. This is a 5, 8 pair, which we can do through the power of 5. That's an 8, that's a 4, that's an 8, that's a 4. Now what? Now surely this column's become easier. We can get rid of 4s from those squares. We can note that that's got to be a 9, that's got to be a 5. This has got to be a 7, this has got to be a 1. Now this square is now a 9. 8 is very useful, that forces this to be 2. So this is now a 4-6 pair. Let's just fill that in like that and see if that helps. This square's become 8, 2, 4, 8 pair. We can now see the order of that using this 4. So we're going to be left with these 6, 8 triples, and this square's a 7. Now, don't tell me this is a deadly pattern or I will cry. No, because this is a 2. So this is an 8, this is a 4, this is a 4, this is a 6, this is a 6, this is an 8, this is an 8, this is a 6, and that square is a 2, and that's how to solve. Yes, that is just an amazing puzzle. It is amazing. I mean, the whole conceit around, well, I presume this is how you do it. 5, 7s and 9s. Is there another trick I meant to do? I don't believe there can be. I mean, it's so beautifully set up, and it's so signalled, I suppose is the right word. You know, as soon as you think about what can go on Kropki dots, the 5, 7s and 9s immediately just shouted at me, where can we go in these boxes? And the way that interacts along these stripes is gorgeous, and it gave us those digits, didn't it? And after that, you could think about the crossroads to get the 1s and the 3s. And after that, in the end, I have to pencil mark the Kropki dots. I'm sorry, I should have done it earlier. Mark will be tittering away. Maybe you're tittering away, or maybe you're shouting, but I hope you enjoyed watching, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.